Listening. All right. Peace and blessings, party people. We are back yet again. I'm distracted here because it's telling me we can't do X because you have to be on premium.
Last week,
Everybody
no,
wants your coin. Yeah, everybody wants your coin, y'all.
that's the truth.
Anyways, it is. So this is Sutton and Lace, the founder and co-founder of the Flavor Room, back yet again to have a quick discussion with you about messaging. And you're probably like, whoa, wait a minute. What the heck does messaging have to do with the Flavor Room? Well, everything actually, because our messaging is on point. Okay. No, but also because a branch of the Flavor Room brand is Flavor Works, which is a collaborative partnership with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and small business owners who are really just tired of giving away their money to solutions for their business that aren't working. So, solutions when it comes to um, website development and design, solutions when it comes to their marketing, their messaging, which we will get to shortly, and also customer journey, which is typically non existent. So, inside of FlavorWorks, that's what we are doing. We are helping solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. Look, anybody who has a business, basically, okay, um, really get quality services, okay, which we are offering. We call ourselves a collaborative partnership. We're not an agency. We are what we say we are yet again. We are working with you to help you bring your vision to life through your website design, through your customer journey, or through your messaging and marketing. So we would quickly want to talk to you today, as I said in the beginning, about messaging. Do you actually have messaging, or do you just have a whole bunch of random content? Most of what I see is people posting random content. Whatever they ate yesterday, or sharing their offer randomly because they haven't shared it in like 3 weeks. That's usually what it is. Very rarely do I see cohesive, comprehensive, potent, and clear messaging. And sometimes I'll have people ask me, wait, when you say messaging, do you mean like sending you a direct message? No, that's not what I'm talking about. You're laughing, Lace, but I've had this question several times. What do you mean by messaging?
Oh, okay.
When we're talking about messaging, we're talking about marketing messaging, which is the strategic language that a brand or a business uses to convey its position or its value to its target audience. Okay. And the reason why messaging is so important is because, first of all, this is how you stand out. One of the ways. Everybody's talking about, oh, I need to stand out. You need to stand out. How do I stand out? Well, if you don't have a clear message for your business, for your brand, for your offer, whatever it is you are selling, you're not going to stand out. Messaging is about being known for something. For example, when anybody thinks of Nike, what's the first thing you think of aside from the swoosh? Just do it, probably. Just do it is going to come to your mind, or some kind of marketing campaign that you've seen from Nike. But all of that comes back to what? Their messaging. Nike, as we're using them as the example, repeats the same thing over and over and over again and has developed a reputation that is what they are known for. We're not talking about the shoes and the athletic gear. We all know that. But we're talking about how they communicate with their target audience. Same thing with Apple. Okay, when we think of Apple, we all think of the logo, of course, but what do you think of when you think of Apple beyond the logo? You think
Phones.
of phones, you think of innovation, right? High-end design, right? You think of that kind of thing. That is because of their messaging. You think of simplicity, a device you can just buy it out of the box, turn it on, essentially, and you're ready to go. They have worked years to be known for that. So what does that have to do with you and your business and your messaging? Well, you should strive to do the same thing. Posting random content, as I said, it keeps you from standing out. It keeps you fighting with everybody else in the noise to be visible. And it also makes it more difficult for you to come up with things to either go on camera, on video to talk about, to write blog posts about, or other things. You know, how many of you listening struggle with creating content? Or you sit there and you're like, oh, I have so many things to say, but I don't know what to say. Well, that's more than likely because you don't have messaging. And I have talked to business owners who have successfully been running their businesses for years, but have never thought about messaging. They have just been able to amass a reputation through, you know, referrals and this kind of thing. But when it comes to creating content, it's just been thrown to the wind. Having messaging saves you a lot of time, saves you a lot of headache, and it builds your confidence. And I know a lot of people are out here, so-called experts are out here saying that long form content doesn't work, that it's all about video. Nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. Look, when you find a way that works for you, you lean into that. Long form content still works. It works for me. It works for the Flavor Room. But if you don't have messaging, that's what people aren't telling you. If you don't know how to strategically communicate your value, whatever mode of communication you choose, be it video, be it blog, be it threads, be it Facebook, none of it's going to matter if you don't have clear and strategic communication. So I've explained to you what is messaging, why you need it. Let me briefly tell you how it makes a difference in your content. Okay. These are like, your messaging is going to be your breadcrumbs. Because when you're consistent in saying who you are, what you do for people, and communicating with them the value that you bring, they're going to start to pick up on that. And when you repeat it over and over again, going back to the examples of Apple and Nike, you will become known for that. Oh, we know Sally Sue for doing this. That's how you build those early stages of trust, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, I've just been saying the same thing over and over again in my post and no one's responding. Well, you want to say the same thing over and over again. That is marketing. You essentially come up with different ways to say it over and over again. So being very clear on that. And it's also going to make the difference in lowering that threshold of people not wanting to like reach out to you or book calls. Ladies, how many times have we heard just with Flavor Room alone, when people get on calls with us, they already feel like they know us?
Yeah. Yes, they do. And they say, I've binged your content. I've read all your stuff. I've been looking at your videos. I've been over at your website. You know, and it's all cohesive. It is what it says on the tin. Everywhere I look, it all tallies up. So that message is already landed for them as well. And that's the point of the repetition, right? That's how people learn. That's how the subconscious mind learns. So that's why Nike and Apple and all of those people are doing the same thing, because they know how it works. So it's, you really got to learn it too. But yeah, that's what it is. It's that cohesive messaging that people get that message and they go, right, I'm going to book that call. And they're like, hey, you're exactly the same. And we already know what this is about. We just want to dig a little bit deeper, and then they're in.
Yeah. And that, what that also does is it shortens the buyer's journey. Because if they've seen you saying the same thing over and over, as I said, and as Lace said, it builds that trust, lowers that threshold. Okay, wait a minute. What is this about? Whatever, you know, your next step is, whether it's a call or whether it's, I don't know, whatever you guys got going on, whatever that next step is, it's going to be easier when you have that clear messaging. And you don't have to come up with things to say. You can say it in different ways, but it's essentially going to be the same thing over and over again. If you guys go back and look at any video or post that Lace and I have done in reference to FlavorWorks or the Flavor Room, you're going to see the same thing over and over again. And this is why. This is also going to help you refine your content and be more confident in sharing it because of the repetition, because you're doing it over and over. And guess what? It's harder to refine your messaging, and it's also harder to refine your content and actually see if it's working if you're constantly changing things. If one week you're like, oh, well, I talked about cats, and this week I'm going to talk about rainbows, and then next week I'm going to talk about my food. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. If you want buyers who are high in intent and are ready to move on to the next steps, you have to speak their language. And their language is, okay, and this is across the board for high intent buyers, their language is, okay, how can whatever you're selling fix my problem? And how can I move on to getting that thing that's going to fix my problems? All this other stuff you're going on about and the fluff, it doesn't matter. Get to the point. When you think of Apple, when you think of Nike, they get to the point. Right? And that's what you want to do in your messaging. So overall, not only is it going to make things easier for you in building, the reputation and everything, building the trust, it's also going to make it easier for you when it comes to doing your video, when it comes to your blog posts, or however you're choosing to share your message with people. So how can FlavorWorks help you with your messaging? Well, I'm so glad that you asked that question. FlavorWorks can help you with your messaging because we have a messaging consultation, okay? And that is done with yours truly, where I roll up my sleeves and walk you through my proprietary process for what I call messaging extraction. I ask you a series of questions that maybe you've never even thought about before, and that's no fault of your own. People just aren't, sharing this with you to think in this way on this deep level. It's usually just, okay, who do you serve? How tall are they? Do they like long walks in the park? And what size shoe do they wear? And they're like, go out there and, tell people. And you're like, wait a minute, where do I find these people? I'm looking for people that are 5'10" with blonde hair and blue eyes. Where are they? Well, they're everywhere, but you're not speaking their language because you haven't done this messaging extraction consultation with me. So that's how Flavor Room can help, or FlavorWorks can help you. Doing this messaging consultation, asking you those questions. It takes about 60 minutes. Okay, yes, I know that sounds crazy, right? 60 minutes to get clarity on your messaging. Yes, that's all it takes when you are partnering with someone like me, is 60 minutes, because I know what I'm doing. I know what to ask. We get straight to the point, no BS. And you are going to walk away with a messaging framework, not mine, not some template I just generated off of ChatGPT. It's not a bot. It's not any of that other stuff. I don't have, the CIA in my ear telling me what to say to you. It's all yours, right? Based on the questions I've asked you, a framework in your voice for your business, for whatever it is you are trying to sell and convey. You walk away with that, how to use it, right? It's plug and play. Okay. You go out there and you just start talking about the stuff. And it's not going to be anything that is crazy. It's stuff that you already know because, again, I'm just asking you questions. So it's all coming from you. And that's pretty much it. So you definitely want to get in on this if you have been struggling on what to say to get people to buy, or how to make content easier, and really just how to show up as not an option for people, but the only option. It starts with your messaging. So would really invite you to come get on a call and find out more about FlavorWorks and scheduling a messaging consultation. And all those details will be in the chat for you. Lace, do you have anything?
No, just book the call. Honestly, it'll be one of the best things you do for your business. And we have the proof to back it up. We've got videos that we've done about that. So go back and find those. And forward to talking to you very, very soon.